Yeah, it's your boy Logos. And today when we at the Thomas Sowell discuss Michelle Obama's actions or accomplishments during Barack Obama's presidency. I'm really not that much aware of Michelle Obama and what she did while her husband was president, but I do know she tried to reform nutrition within the public school system. And in hindsight, I think that was a good idea, even though the execution might not have been that well. We know obesity is an issue within this country, and if everybody is more healthy, more fit, and more active, I think it makes our whole country much more stronger. And I genuinely believe the government doesn't give a damn about us because during the pandemic, when people was worried about sickness and being healthy, people really wasn't thinking about exercise. The government wasn't saying go and work out, go in the sun, just go for a walk. That's safe. That's perfectly fine to do. No, they told you to stay inside, be worried, have have anxiety, worry about losing your business or your job, how your children gonna be educated. I really don't believe the government care about us. They really sold us out for vaccines and the pharma companies. We really could have used our whole 2 year tenure during the pandemic to be more healthy overall. Healthy in a way that helps us beyond just COVID or any other just single disease. If you're more fit, you're more active, you have a stronger immune system, you have better mental health, and you just feel more confident. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want to have your citizens be more confident and more healthy. It's much more easier to control people when they're just causing the machine and they have issues worried about like financial stress or health problems or taking care of people with health problems. It's like easier to control people that way and for them to vote for you. Because if you can say I can control a policy or put in some type of law to help you out because of this type of thing, instead of saying maybe stop what you're doing so you don't get this issue in the future, like through working out, it just doesn't help them in that way. But I'm curious to see what Thomas Sowell got to say about Michelle Obama. Like I said at the start, we don't know that much about her during the presidency outside of nutrition. And just the idea sounds good to me. So let's get into it.
Tom, let's apply common sense to one of the festivals of democracy, the Democratic National Convention. First Lady Michelle Obama. She begins by describing her father and Barack Obama's grandmother as decent people, hardworking people who sacrificed for her families. And then she says this.
So when it comes to rebuilding our economy, Barack is thinking about folks like my dad and like his grandmother. He's thinking about the pride that comes from a hard day's work. That's why he signed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act to help women get equal pay for equal work.
The law that prevents people to discriminate based on gender or race or sex and stuff didn't exist before 2008, where companies and corporations and employers were allowed to underpay women just because of their gender and not because of difference of experience, skills, certifications, or many other things. I'm curious about that.
That's why he cut taxes for working families and small businesses and fought to get the auto industry back on its feet. That's how he brought our economy from the brink of collapse to creating jobs again, jobs you can raise a family on, good jobs, right here in the United States of America.
President Obama is giving us, quote, jobs you can raise a family on. Tom?
You know, it's like someone once said, it's like being a mosquito at a nudist colony. You don't know where to start. I mean, we're not going to be in the air long enough for me to dissect all the falsehoods that this woman has put into those few words.
Give us one.
Oh, okay, the jobs that you can raise a family on. The new jobs that are being created are disproportionately very low-income jobs. So I don't know how you're going to be raising a family on minimum wage type jobs or flipping hamburgers at McDonald's. The other thing is that what is implicit in all of this is that the economy has no recuperative powers of its own.
Yeah, that's
that
what I
all
was
the
thinking.
benefits, all whatever recovery there have been, has been due to Barack Obama.
That's the thing too I was thinking while she was saying that, because you always hear about investing and people always say they always, almost always keep your money in the market, even if there is a dip, because eventually it's going to rise back again and you'll eventually make that money back and usually more because the market always is stable. I mean, it stabilizes itself eventually even after some type of dip, fall, or collapse, like the Great Depression or recession. So you could say that Barack Obama had a role to play in that, but also that was going to naturally happen to begin with. The speed that it was going to happen, that's up to different variables. One of those could be Barack Obama's policies, or it could be certain corporations, certain companies making different decisions with how they do their business going down the line. There's many different factors.
It's like the scene of Genesis where he's breathing life into the clay of the economy.
That's it. Now, anyone who studied history knows that for the first 150 years of this country, the federal government did not intervene when the economy turned down. And all that time, the downturns all corrected themselves. One of the most classic examples was under Warren G. Harding. When his first year in office, he found the unemployment rate at 11.7%. He did absolutely nothing. And he did not spend more government money. He cut back government spending. The Federal Reserve had the interest rates up at 6 or 7%, not down at 1% where they are now. The next year, unemployment was at 6.7%. The year after that, it was 2.4%. So the economy has recuperative powers. I mean, employers have an incentive to hire people. Workers have an incentive to get jobs. Lenders have incentives to lend. They don't need somebody in Washington trying to micromanage all of this.
Your argument is not only weak form of the argument. We don't need Barack Obama to breathe life into the economy because it'll recover on its own sooner or later.
If Barack Obama stays out of the way.
That's what I'm saying. The strong form of the argument is Barack Obama's actually been holding it down.
No question. I mean, there's never been a recovery other than that of the Great Depression of the 1930s that took so long. Under Ronald Reagan in the early years got up to 9.7% annual unemployment. He did absolutely nothing. The media went crazy. The unemployment came down, and it kept right on coming down.
Right. All right. So common sense, use your head. One common sense question is, what went wrong? How did we get into this mess in the first place? And Bill Clinton, once again at the Democratic National Convention, explained the answer.
Yes.
In Tampa, the Republican argument against the president re-election was actually pretty simple, pretty snappy. It went something like this. We left him a total mess. He hadn't cleaned it up fast enough, so fire him and put us back in.
The Republicans created the mess.
This shows that Clinton is truly a masterful politician. And to be a masterful politician, you have to have a lot of brass. And it takes an incredible amount of brass for Bill Clinton, who was the biggest factor in creating the housing boom that led to the bust that brought down the whole economy. It was during the Clinton administration that the federal government forced lenders to change their lending standards, which had been in place for decades and had made real estate one of the safest investments around. Bring those standards down in order that they can get the numbers that they want for low income, minority, et cetera, mortgage applicants.
Barney Frank, the ranking Democrat on the House committee that oversaw Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, said, quote, "I'm willing to roll the dice on Freddie and Fannie," meaning
he'd be willing to take the chance that the standards were being brought down too low. More than that, Attorney General Janet Reno under Clinton threatened lenders with legal action from the Justice Department if their numbers, in terms of groups and income levels of people who were approved, didn't fit her preconceptions. HUD under Clinton made lawsuits against lenders, charging them with racial discrimination based solely upon statistics.
So Tom, give me for the layman a 3-sentence summary, a soundbite kind of summary of what caused the mess we're in. It was not a failure of the market. It was a failure of
the government forcing people to lower the lending standards that had existed for years. And they said, well, the problem was blamed on greed. You don't satisfy greed by lending to people who can't pay you back.
All right. You insist once again that if we base this election on the facts, the Obama administration would be, quote, doomed. But listen to President Obama himself, last clip from the Democratic National Convention.
If you believe that new plants and factories can dot our landscape, that new energy can power our future, that new schools can provide ladders of opportunity to this nation of dreamers. If you believe in a country where everyone gets a fair shot and
You can say what you want about Obama, but he put up an excellent front. I'm telling you, his speeches, where he talked, it was much. He played the part very well, and I can understand why people bought into it. When he was, running for office, I was too young to really understand politics, but for the most part, almost everybody at least liked the way he talked, looked, and presented himself. And I really don't think you could take that away from him. But his policies, that's something different. And you can even hear it in the inflections in the speech right here. His voice almost cracks because he's trying to portray how much he cares about the country in the future and how much you want to work hard to try to save it. So he cracks his voice, makes it like he's about to cry, and he's emotional. He's very good at what he does. I can't deny that.
everyone does their fair share and everyone plays by the same rules, then I need you to vote this November.
All right, new plants and factories, new energy, new schools, and a fair shot. What's wrong with that?
I wonder if the fair shot includes the taxpayers. But we've had factories before there was Barack Obama. Hard as that is to believe, and we've had less of it since he came in.
Okay, Tom. So let me ask this question.
I'm just curious. I wish they could have had more time, or there's maybe this full interview so I can get more details. But is it less of it because of the economy collapsing and only certain amount of factories can be saved if they want to keep their employees, or at least keep the ones they can maintain with their revenue and profit? Or is it something else because of Barack Obama's policies? That's some more details I'd like to know.
Which is politically incorrect, which makes it all the more important to ask. Some component of the voting public voted for him last time around as an act of national expiation because they felt, and I frankly, I could feel it myself. We were all proud, even those of us who supported the opponent, all felt proud the following day that the United States of America, the Constitution takes slavery into account, the Civil War, but finally we have a black man as president of the United States. All right, that's perfectly understandable. We know that took place. 4 years later, what about the argument that it is so important for him to get this right, so important as a continuation of this national act of expiation and healing and so forth, that in some way it's only right to give him, frankly, more slack than you might.
Affirmative action for president.
Well, there you go. I
fuck?
suppose that's what it amounts to.
Nah, I don't think you should be giving him more time because of the fact that he's black, because we're talking about people's job and welfare. I do think you can make more of an argument that you should give him more time because maybe the situation he came into, but that sounds much more sound and reasonable, at least to me, and the knowledge I know, compared to saying, hey, he's black, give him a chance, give him more time. I understand that you're suffering, I understand that you're in poverty, and I understand the policies he made isn't working out in your favor, but he's black. Give him more time. That doesn't sound good to me. I don't care if it was white, Spanish, or anybody. My family needs help now, and I want it now, or as soon as possible. And just because he's black is gonna make me feel better. Black families are suffering too. I don't care.
I guess you don't buy that one.
Well, when you realize that the President of the United States has the lives of 300 million people in his hands.
Exactly.
He has the future of Western civilization in his hands.
Exactly.
He has the freedom that has been inherited over the centuries in his hands.
Exactly.
And he's already starting to dismantle that. I really don't think it's a question of any individual, whoever's in the White House, being cut any slack. The last thing you need to do is cut slack to people who have power over 300 million other people.
Exactly. What the hell?
Segment
Cut
2.
some slack for those 300 million people.
Thank you. I agree completely with everything Thomas Sowell said. This man is the president, or he was the president at the time of this interview or running for re-election. Either way, you shouldn't be trying to diminish his standards or his accountability because of his skin color. I think that's just as insulting compared to saying he can't do it because of his skin color. And it sounds like that. I'm be honest with you, it sounds like that right liberal pity party bullshit that I hate so much. White liberals can be just as racist as the stereotypical redneck conservative racist. And that doesn't mean just because you're a conservative, you're racist. But you know how people stereotypically consider a racist conservative? Because, you know, oftentimes that does be the case. But still, it just doesn't make any sense. He is a president. He earned it because of his many different factors. Part of it is merit and his speech and ability. So to diminish that and say that, give him some slack because he black, I just don't buy that. If anything, he should rise to that standard and do the best he can. Or he should have tried to do the best he can. Certain stuff like spying and having more, I don't know, constricting government after his terms of office was stuff I just wasn't a fan of. And certain policies like drone strikes and other stuff like that just mean different things I wasn't a fan of. So him being black really doesn't influence me that much. I just care about his politics and his policies. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's your boy Logos. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.